Good morning, everybody. January 8th. Ooh, 1 and 8 is 9. 2020 is 4. So 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Anytime you see 13, you guys should know there's an act of the cabal that will happen. I don't watch the news because every time I was watching the news, as an empath, I was absorbing a lot of the frequency of the people and some of the false stories and fake flag stuff. It was affecting my emotions. So I actually ripped the cable cord out of my TV. So I only watch Hulu. And so I wanted to talk about. Oh, look, I'll show you guys this. It is a hawk. Just perched. Always perched. I have a weird theory about hawks. Call me crazy, but... And it's looking right at me. Look. There is a heron. I said this in a video before. Like, I'm in the middle of the city where there isn't water anywhere around here. So a heron flying through the city. Herons mean there's a transition in life. Transitions are always good. It means that you're evolving, you're growing. Anyways, moving forward. So it's fascinating because I just saw 2 bird references, and this video I wanted to talk about the Phoenix energy. And it didn't really dawn on me until just right now. I was just in my own headspace driving in traffic to the second job that I've had. This job I only do once a week for 90 minutes. And if you guys weren't in the know about my last video, my primary source of income, my primary job, fired me. Well, not fired me. They didn't tell me anything. They just gave me a letter to not return. I don't know how to legally look at that, but I'm not going to go into too much. But I was trying to compare, and this is why I do this. I put my stories and my life out in these videos to parallel the metaphysical shifts that are happening and the things that are happening in the cosmos, the work that God is doing that we cannot see because it's above the firmament. But today I wanted to talk about the Phoenix energy. And it came up because I'm thinking, why is Australia on fire? Like, all of Australia is on fire. If you were to evacuate Australia, where everybody were to run to the coast, which there's water all around Australia, you can't get off the island. Like, everyone is stuck. It's like those Salem witch, like when they condemn the witch and she's like on the pole and all the fires around her. That's Australia right now. But it's kind of funky because people are putting a lot of fear into the fire. They're adding fuel to the fire because they're scared. And as I was driving, and I'm thinking about my personal story, what's going on, which I'll share in a moment, I thought Phoenix energy. Phoenix energy, Phoenix is rising, Phoenix energy is rising. We are about to go into the age of Aquarius in just a matter of a few weeks, on my birthday, January 19th. Age of Aquarius. I am so excited because it'll be a grand birthday for me. And it's sort of like take back what was stolen from me. I don't want to cry. Dang, dude. What happened to me last week was kind of like the final kick in the stomach before I passed out. I put so much work into helping so many people in the company that I was working for, and without even a notice or a warning or a sit down, a pep talk, a coaching, or you violated one of our attendance policies and we have to move forward, but you've done so much work. Please, we're going to give you one more chance. Somebody could have done it, but I was sacrificed. I was used as a example for the rest of the hundreds of thousands of people in this company nationwide. If they do what I did, that will happen to them. So why was I the first person they experimented that with? Because I'm melanated. Because I'm knowledgeable. I have the wisdom. The cabal is behind the company that I work for. And I said this on Facebook yesterday, and it sparked a debate. It's a Zionistic movement. And it doesn't, when I say Zionist, everyone always thinks Jews, and the rich Jews. And it's like, Zionism is really about control and ritual and practice of ritual and study of how to control. And you see it throughout the Bible all the time. The Star of David is a perfect example of a symbol of Zionism, because people cater so much authority and so much respect, and don't you dare talk about the Star of David because, you just offended a whole culture. That's what I mean. So I mentioned yesterday in the comments of my Facebook page that I had to understand why what happened to me happened, because it's the cabal who found out who I am, and they didn't like how much authority that I had within the company, and that they forced me to want to side with them by changing the name of my class to something that was completely satanic. And I said, no, I have free will. There's nothing wrong with what I do. The name doesn't have to change. As for my friends who are all dance teachers, they all went with it and changed the name of their class because they felt they'll lose their job and they'll have nothing to. It's like, you can't be scared of losing everything. That's the main point of why we went into the Awakening Experience in 2012. So that 2012 timeline, I mentioned this before, has now emerged and is now part of our 2020. 2020, the vision is basically like we have 7 years to experience how to get through this awakening training ground, like we were training to get through this ascension. And now 2020 is now like the vision. It's all happening. It's all going to go forward. What have you learned? What have you done so far? What have you acquired? So, in essence, what I mean about this whole Phoenix energy, everything went to Australia, which was like weird. I have to do my homework on Australia, because the name of Australia, if you Google it, is not Australia. It is like some weird, I forgot what they call it. Shoot, I have to do my homework. But if you guys Google search Australia, it will tell you a different name. That name goes way back to 2,000 years ago, that island, that place. And I'm not certain what activity happened, but if I'm channeling right now, some things went down on that island where it was some crazy boo-boo. Like King Solomon magic boo-boo. But what I was thinking was, the Galactics are here, obviously. Fleets have arrived, obviously. They go underground because there's a lot of operations underground that are going on. There's cloning centers underground. There are CERN and energy practice things going on underground. They're testing time machines and time travel underground. There's so much going on underground and diverse. Like in Mexico, you would never thought anything would go on in Mexico. Yes, because it's so off the map, and it is so slum-like. All the slum areas, like I hate to say slum, but like in the tropics or like Puerto Rico and Cuba, those are places where you can discreetly hide a center and discreetly conduct a project of anything. Combining animal genetics with humans and trying to make human. And this stuff does exist, and people don't talk about it. I'm not afraid to talk about it now because I don't have to worry about a Saturn worship company following me on social media, being afraid of what I'm going to say. But they pushed me to capacity. My anger and rage and my frustration has boiled, and it's continuing to boil. And I think during the time of suffering the loss of my only sibling that I had, put me in a very bad depression. But to punch me in the stomach with accusations of things that I did not do, finally leading up to embarrassing me on New Year's Day in front of 40 people by terminating me in public without explanation. It's the most hurtful thing that anyone has ever done to me in my life. And what's great about me is I will not say anything negative about that association. No one in that association has nothing but love, and there's nothing to forgive, because if something intentionally was done to you and there wasn't like a mistake, mistakes and accidents are forgivable, but intentions are not forgivable in my account. Like, I used to be someone who forgave because I felt like, well, God wants us to be immortal, so in order to maintain that immortality, we must not judge. But not forgiving something doesn't mean that you're judging it. I keep navigating. So I've been so fired up in this, like, I can't do anything with this energy except cry when I feel this inner power that it's like a new power in me that has awakened, and I still don't know how to nurture it quite yet, because there's so many things I have to sort out legally, and on a personal level, so many errands I have to run. But when I have that time, I think that I was chosen to usher in this Phoenix energy. I've been so obedient to all of the, oh my God, the traffic. I hope I get to work on time. I've been so focused on all the things in the skies and helping interpret what's there. I can see things that people cannot see. I can feel and sense things that people cannot see. A lot of people might think I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but I know what I'm talking about. So I think a grant and a reward for saying no to joining this satanic thing that the company was trying to do. I think they were trying to initiate and bring in more people to join the occult, and I caught on to it. So I think they booted me out because of that. That was the only explanation that I could have, is that this is a higher level spiritual warfare. Yeah, it's funny because I was the only one who denied it, and I'm the only one who got asked to leave. But I'm being asked to usher in this Phoenix energy. And so I'm thinking Australia, right? I thought laser weapons, why are they being targeted? I couldn't really pinpoint that. People were saying that, it was a peaceful land and their government gives them free choice to vote for whatever. Sometimes they're forced to vote yes, like for gay marriage or something like that. Or they can't have gay, something like that. But the temperatures in Australia are literally like crazy. It's like 115 at some times of the day, which is unheard of. But the temperature in the sky might be 70 degrees. But it's just the temperature from the ground up is really hot. So I'm thinking the Galactics are underground, like knocking out all these different secret operations that are going on. And then I'm also thinking possibly they've discovered that there are literal firebirds nesting underneath Australia, and that they are feeding, grooming, and nurturing and making peace with these firebirds and teaching them how to, attack. So, but I think what I'm trying to say is if there are laser weapons, 5G technology, and targeted energy on innocent people in Australia, the only way to defend all of those people or races or beings that are discreetly being there and being protected, the only way to assure their security and safety is to awaken the firebirds that are underneath the surface. There are no volcanoes in that area, so why would they be that? Why would they be that? Why would Australia be on fire? So I'm sorry, you guys. This conversation is all over the place. It just hit me in the head, and I want to say it out loud before I forget. But I think that it is the energy of the firebirds, the phoenix. I don't know how many, but I know that the only way to diffuse light from the body is fire. Lasers cannot put out fires. Lasers create fires. So in essence, fire can collect light. Fire can actually diffuse light. Like if you have a beam going this way and a flame here, the light cannot pass the flame because of, I don't know what the science is, but when you have temperature versus the speed of light, there's oh god, photons and protons can be diffused by an element. I don't know how the hell I knew that. Thank you, Isaac Newton. But this is cool because I can channel it. This is why I'm a 9D clairvoyant channeler, because I can lay out science head to toe without even being educated in college. But photons and protons, I think this is what CERN is trying to do. They're trying to build something that can penetrate fire. And they're also trying to use it to open gateways to go back in time. And they can't. They can remote view images. I don't know how that works, but I think also they can use consciousness of people. If past lives exist, they're probably using people, and how many people's lives are being unfortunately sacrificed in exchange of trying to tap in their consciousness to look back in time, to get timestamps and to find ways to find items in different places of the earth. But I do think that there are phoenix birds, firebirds underneath Australia. And I believe that's why they're cooking and they're heating up underneath the ground, because those eggs have hatched and the galactics are there to nurture them, feed them, bring them clarity and peace, and make allies with them. And that energy coming out of the ground of Australia is what's protecting the people from HAARP and the targeted energy weapons and the man-made manipulated stuff. And their 5G, I believe they're working on 6G in Australia, because they're a little bit ahead of us. So the fire is actually there to protect the people. I just ask that if anyone knows anyone in Australia that they practice yin meditation. I'm going to do this later today. I promised my friend Kimberly I'd do this for weeks now. Yin meditation is when you can control and build the electric chi in your body, which will also help lower your blood pressure. It will also help control, like let's say if you're cold, doing that type of meditation will actually help your body adapt to the environment. But it will also help, if you're a Reiki healer, yin meditation, which is positive, it will help you ascend your Reiki energy. It helps you with your practice. So I rambled enough. You guys are falling asleep. Wake up. I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Bye.